Good morning, everybody. Justine, how are you today?
Just about to slurp my coffee there, Liz. Good morning. How are you? I'm very well.
Good. What a week it's been. It's been a busy week. We had the Verve conference
We did.
on Tuesday. There might be some heavy heads from the awards last night, Money Marketing Awards. We sent Lewis in his yellow dicky bow, thanks to the hard work of social media and LinkedIn. He was a little bit hesitant in wearing the yellow bow tie, but
On
me
brand.
and Amanda come up
Yeah.
with a bit of a cunning plan and said, look, if we get 50 likes, he'll wear it. And lo and behold, it got over 50 likes. So that's really good. We was a little bit disappointed though, because we did find a dicky bow with yellow ducks on it. So we was kind of like, oh, damn it, if we'd have seen this first, I think we'd have went for that one. But nevertheless, he wore the yellow dicky, and I think he had a really good time.
On
Last night.
brand. Always on brand and on point.
Always on brand. And I don't actually think we've heard from him today as of yet. But I can imagine with the trains all up the wall yesterday as well, I can imagine it'd have been tough getting out.
Probably asleep. I don't know. Where was it? Is it Hilton Park Lane or was it somewhere else?
I think it was. Yeah, Amanda, you're absolutely right. Silence is golden sometimes with Lewis. You're absolutely right. So good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. As always, we intend for our webinar to run for the full hour. So please do make the most of your time with us. Ask as many questions as you'd like. The Q&A function keeps things anonymous. So if you've got a question that you don't want to put it on the chat function, then please do use the Q&A function. If not, as you can see, Amanda and Mark are using the chat function. So please all do participate. We've got a couple of polls as well, so do get involved. It's good to hear your thoughts on Justine's fantastic presentation that I had a little sneak preview of yesterday, and it's going to be amazing. Feedback is so important to us. So when the webinar is over, you will be prompted to create a little, complete a feedback form. It's the only way that we can improve by hearing your feedback. So please do take 2 minutes to complete the feedback form. It will give you an opportunity to interact with Justine and Tatton, as well as it will do to communicate with the club as well. We do intend to have a bit of time towards the end in case you have any questions for Justine. So let's kick things off. The membership experience the club membership experience is built for business owners. We provide structure, clarity, and accountability, helping you stay focused, save time, and make progress. You are surrounded by people who really want to see you succeed. It's about the direction. It's structured business plans, clear 90-day sprints, all tailored to what you want to achieve. But most importantly, it's about ongoing accountability to actually get you where you want to get to. It's about helping you to unlock new opportunities, growth opportunities, using strategies that work, streamlining your operations, streamlining your systems so that you can service or scale without burnout, which we will go through from time to time. We're quite a supportive bunch. You're not doing this alone. You've got a network of peers and experts who get it. It is a safe space to talk, reflect, and grow. It's about giving you clarity. I think clarity is so important. With the right support, you'll know exactly where you're heading and what actions matter most to you right now, and most certainly within the next 90 days. It's giving you that confidence in building, in making decisions more easily. Trusting both your plan and your process. It's so important that you've got the confidence in your business. It's about capacity. We want to free up your time so that you can spend more time focusing on your clients, your team, and your business. So we are doing so much for business owners at the moment, whether we're looking at the whole business structure, whether we're mapping out a whole business development playbook. Some need to lift the bonnet on the operational aspects of their businesses as well. One firm in particular is implementing an EOT. So for them, it's all about people and culture. So if you're looking for a bit of support or a bit of change, a bit of structure, or if you're just looking for real accountability to help grow your business, then do come along and have a chat with us at the club. Aside from that, we do want to help every single professional in the industry. So we do have a community that works and fits for everybody. Some of you may well be involved or may know of our WhatsApp groups. They're absolutely buzzing. It's quick answers, no fluff, just meaningful conversations that help you solve problems on the go. So we broke them down into separate groups. So we've got a business owner, we've got a financial advisor, we've got ops managers, we've got power planners, so separate groups for you to virtually hang out with your peers if you like. Our webinars are expert led. Justine is with us today. They're highly practical and CPD accredited. We know nothing beats face-to-face events and that real face-to-face connection. So our in-person strategy events help you build better businesses. And we've got a couple lined up, which I will share with you shortly. Our podcast is live and you can stream our podcast on most platforms. So you can dip into the insights from leading voices whenever it suits you. So hear from business owners that have built businesses, why they built businesses, the highs and lows and everything in between. On Tuesday this week at the Verve conference, we did have a live podcast. Justine, you was a part of that.
I was.
It was a great experience. We managed to record, I think it was 21 episodes in the day. So it was a really good, busy day to say the least.
It was great fun. Not as much fun as sitting on the giant rubber duck, but there you go.
And you sat on the giant rubber duck, and we'll share a picture with everybody on social later.
So
our CEO roundtables, quarterly roundtables, these are definitely more strategic. It's high-level discussions focusing on problems that are within your business right here and right now. So that's a community for absolutely everybody. As mentioned, we have 2 in-person events lined up with a potential third coming. So we'll let you know more about that as the time gets closer. These are exclusive for business owners and for standalone self-employed advisors, those advisors who are wearing multiple caps at one time. So we're coming to Leeds on Friday the 26th of September, and then we are off to Birmingham on Friday the 28th of November. So to give you a real brief insight as to what it looks like, the agenda is absolutely stacked. We kick things off with a highly interactive personal motivators session, really enabling you to rediscover your why. We then look at strategies, Justine, to win and retain clients across multiple generations. So your presentation today ties in very nicely with what we were discussing. So it was quite good, wasn't it, when we went through the demo yesterday?
I suspect a number of the slides might be making a reappearance.
I think they will. Don't tell everybody. And then we're finishing things off with building a client referral scheme that actually works as well. So everything we do at our event is collaborative and interactive. Sitting and listening is simply not possible. 5 hours of CPD, and it is completely free. And there will be some time for networking and drinks after the event as well. So if you are near Leeds, if you are near Birmingham, there will be a link on the feedback survey to ask you if you want to attend any of those, and we'll make contact and book you on. Just briefly, we've got 2 webinars coming up. First off, it's next week, Friday the 19th of September. We are with Team Aspen. This session is exploring how advisors can help cautious investors strike the right balance between protecting capital and still achieving that long-term growth. Then the following Friday, Friday the 3rd of October, no rest for the wicked. Every Friday I'm on a webinar at the moment. We are back with Timeline. We love the guys over at Timeline. This session is focused on building client confidence. So we're going to be looking at how visual planning tools and smarter portfolios can help bring reassurance and deliver meaningful outcomes. As always, I love to touch on the collaborators. We couldn't do what we do without the incredible support of all of our collaborators. Each and every one of these businesses play a key part in the role in helping members navigate change and unlock new opportunities. So what we feel really unites them is their shared commitment to moving the financial planning industry and profession forward, their expertise, their innovation, and the genuine desire to make a difference. So from technology to training, marketing to compliance, platforms, and everything in between, they're bringing the tools and insights to really fuel that progress. So a huge thank you and a well-deserved shout out to everybody now collaborating with the club. So that leads us on to today. Justine is with us. Justine brings over 25 years of experience in financial services. You've got a background as a financial planner yourself. So you bring a real understanding of the challenges and opportunities within our profession, which we absolutely love. You've been part of the Tatton team now for more than 7 years. You sit on the board. You lead their distribution, marketing, and proposition strategy as well. Cool. You have to make sure you got your teeth in for that sentence. You're a regular speaker across the industry, a key voice in championing the NPS and the drive to make investing more accessible and affordable for clients. So as the attendees would have noticed, we asked a couple of questions when they registered for the webinar today, and I just wanted to relay that back to you. I think there's a clear understanding that we all need to be doing more to bring new talent into the industry. It's very much why we sit on the New Talent Alliance. So 94% of attendees agreed that the industry could and should do more to bring new talent into financial planning. Just under half are currently using an NPS. Some use it via Tatton or an in-house at or under their network. Now, this is an interesting one because the stat is very, very similar to the stat that you're about to show. So we're not too far off. 61% say their firm is prepared to support multi-generational families. Is that what you'd expect, Justine?
Yeah,
those numbers?
So. I think that's probably going to tie in with the overall narrative of the next sort of half hour, 40 minutes or so. I love the fact there's always room for improvement. Every day is a school day, as they say. So couldn't
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I will stop sharing. The floor is yours. I am looking forward to going on this presentation with you.
Thank you. I shall try and master the art of sharing now. This will be interesting. You know how low my IT skills are because you just
Justin asked me earlier how to share, and there was a big green button saying share. So we're off to a blinding start.
It's Friday. Come on, and you know what sort of week I've had because I keep most of it. So
yeah.
It's been one of those, hasn't it? Good morning, everyone. And thank you for giving up your very, very precious time to be here on a Friday. I really appreciate it. Loving what you do, as any of you have the misfortune to follow me on LinkedIn will know, is very important to me. And we are never happier than when with our friends at the Financial Planning Club. And I would just like to say that the quality of the events and the engagement, it's such a pleasure to work with a really independent organization that are genuinely here for planners. There aren't very many that have absolutely no kind of motivation other than delivering the right thing. So a massive thanks to you guys for that. Really, really appreciate it.
You're amazing.
So the kind of objective for today is to make sure every single one of you takes away a few nuggets, making sure you are as well positioned as possible. Firstly, to maximize the great wealth transfer opportunity. And secondly, to make sure that you're protecting your income stream and you feel really confident in engaging with every single generation. So we have, as always, a few learning objectives for our time together. I'll try to make it interactive and get you involved. I've got a video. Wow, this is very modern of me. A video as well, and even polls. But Lee, I'm going to come to you for the polls because they'll go wrong if I do those. That's.
I've got you. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's the downside of having nearly 30 years experience. There we go. Right, our learning objectives today. We're going to start with a little bit of a journey. We're going to explore the opportunities and threats that the wealth transfer brings. We all know we need to think about this, but what does it actually mean? What's good and what's bad about it? We'll then move on to evaluate the strategy. So how can we take advantage of the opportunities and protect our client banks? We'll think about how clients engage, specifically how different generations like to process information, because we are all wonderfully unique, and that's what makes us interesting. But if we're trying to build a proposition or an engagement strategy, we need to think about how we can tailor our messaging. And then finally, we'll think about how being investment ready, making sure that we're communicating in the right way can really help enhance the value of our business and protect our income. So without further ado, let's get going. So we're going to start by thinking about why now? Why at Tatton have we chosen to speak about the wealth transfer now? Well, I always write my presentations geared around practice management. I could do an investment management webinar, but it wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't be coming from my heart. And as somebody who feels really fortunate to have started my career as an advisor, I think that's a fantastic grounding. I also have the ultimate respect for financial advisors because I had all the gear and no idea at a very, very young age. And I think that the work you do is phenomenal. So I always write my presentations around themes to try and help layer on top of the investment expertise. So not a single chart in here today. You have lots of good content, very, very rarely present charts, mostly because I don't like numbers, but I think we're in a people business. So let's think about how we can take advantage of the opportunity. So what's unique about now? We have this amazing window of time. Anyone who's been around long enough will know that we've been reading about this wealth transfer for at least the last 10 years. And this money has been allegedly making the move. Well, we only need to look at what's coming with the forthcoming budget, the potential changes around inheritance tax, utterly terrifying. And a lot of money is already starting to move. And we have around 5 trillion of wealth starting to move through those generations. Our baby boomers are really, really lucky. These guys are the last of the generations that have benefited from fantastic market growth, low property prices, and they've been able to build a significant amount of wealth. And you as planners have invested decades in growing their wealth, making them incredibly wealthy and in a really strong position today. And our primary client is probably starting to either enter decumulation or start to think about passing those assets on, or unfortunately, even entering ill health and passing away. So we're going to think about how we can protect those client banks and spend your time as efficiently as possible. So before we do that, we need to start with a lesson in time. We need to think about how important time is. So what better way to start than a lesson in time from Benjamin Franklin, a fascinating man, really obsessed with the concept of time and longevity and the importance of making the most of every single day that we have. He is so important that his picture made it onto the $100 bill. And if I was going to be on a banknote, I'd probably like to be on the $100 bill. So why not? And what Franklin says is that time is the only currency we spend without knowing our remaining balance. And that is terrifying. And it really resonated with me when I was building the presentation. And if you think about it, as planners, that's the key to what we do. We make sure, if we can, that our clients maximize their time. They don't die too rich, they don't die too poor, but they are going throughout the journey comfortably and without having the worries. And that's the real secret to what you do. You give them that freedom to live their life as they want to, and do the very best they can with the assets they have. So now, unfortunately, the orange man has made an appearance on, I think, slide 5. So apologies, very topical given everything that's happened this week in the United States. But the risk that we have at the moment with these assets on the move is that those assets can drip away or be moved away out of our custodianship, out of our guardianship. Our baby boomer clients, we have really strong connectivity to those. We're really connected to them. We know them really, really well. But that money's starting to move. And we see this with the increase in the average inheritance over the same period of time, really significant amount of assets on the move. Largely due to property wealth. If you look at the huge amount that the baby boomers have amassed in property, they were able to access that property ladder at a really accessible time, going back 40, 45 years ago now, with the youngest boomers being in their early 60s. They were really, really lucky. I mean, any young person now that can get on the ladder without a parental gifted deposit is a really lucky human. And that's what we're starting to see, Lee, is that money moving down.
Absolutely.
So if we think now about how we can deal with that risk, well, there's a few really scary statistics. Research tells us that less than half of beneficiaries plan to use their parents' financial advisor, not because you're not fantastic, but because they don't know you. They don't have a connection, a trust, and they haven't built the same relationship with you that their parents have. I'm a really good example of this. Unfortunately, both of my parents are no longer with me. They were divorced and fiercely independently accrued their own wealth. They had financial advisors, both of them. My mum, I knew she did. My dad, I didn't. I had no relationship with either of them, and they were both pretty independently wealthy. And on losing both of them, it came to me that I had no clue what their goals were. They both died too young, and I was an only child inheriting their wealth, but I don't know what their wishes were. And I really wish I'd had a relationship with their planner so that I could have understood more about what they wanted me to do with their money. And not only that, first thing I did was withdraw all of their money. I moved it into my name and under my guardianship with my financial planner. So that was a really big wasted opportunity for those two, probably fantastic planners as well.
Absolutely. Just on that, Justin, I think it'll be a good time to run one of the polls.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which is, do you feel you are equipped to engage with younger generations and make, I think it's quite important because, as you said, it's the art of assumption, isn't it? It's assuming as a financial planner that you're going to inherit the heirs of the wealth, when ultimately it's not always the case, as you've just rightly explained. And I think it doesn't matter what profession you're in, whether it's financial planning, any sort of professional sort of setup, if you like. You take accountants, for example. There's a good reason why me and my father don't share the same accountant. Because my new accountant communicates with me in a far better way than what my dad's accountant did. I used to send my dad's accountant an email. I used to get one word back saying noted. I used to think, I wonder how much that noted email cost me. But now my new accountant, he interacts with me in such a different way. And I think that's the assumption piece, isn't it, with financial planners, sometimes assuming that they're going to automatically inherit and look after the younger generations of that family and that wealth.
Exactly that. And I think if we look at the results of the poll, some people feel really well prepared. I think slightly over half would like to know more, and good opportunity to engage and explore how we can help.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank
So
you.
I'll share the results just for the purpose so everybody can see it. So yeah, 57% said yes, that they're equipped, which is fantastic. There's a handful of people to say no, and the rest would like to know more. So stay tuned and you're going to find out more.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So a fantastic opportunity here to make sure that we're engaging. We need to help the young people. We need to make sure we can pass the money on, keep it under our guardianship, and help them achieve that independence that they're really, really trying and somewhat struggling to achieve as well. So the opportunity, we've done the negative bit. We've got a thumbs up from Mr. Trump. We don't see that very often, do we? He is creating a lot of uncertainty in the markets, and with young people starting to come onto the investment ladder and entry as early level accumulators, their need for advice is greater than ever. So lots of planners tell us that they're worried about this intergenerational move, and they don't really know how to build those relationships and how to sort of tailor their communication and their service offering to get the most out of those relationships. So let's keep this strategy really focused, making sure that we keep you as engaged as possible and make you really, really confident. We want a thumbs up, not a thumbs down. So let's start by thinking about different generations. If we're going to communicate and build an intergenerational plan and understand where the risk is in our books, we need to step back first and ask ourselves, well, why does it matter how old I am? What does a generation mean? And I have a lovely quote here from a lady called Deborah Carr. She's a professor and chair of the sociology department at Boston University, a very important lady, clearly. She's been around a few generations based on that picture as well. But I think she definitely knows her stuff by the sounds of it. She says, a generation is a group of people born at roughly the same time. And they're usually grouped by a 10 to 15-year time interval. This really matters, and generations take on a special meaning because the members experience critical life events and transitions at historical moments. They are shared experiences. And these shared experiences and moments are defining their lives and really influencing the way they feel about lots of things. For example, parenting styles and attitudes to money. And I think we all see this in our parents, and the way that we parent is very different to the way our parents parented us. We always try to put right the wrongs, but we also have influences that are shaping the way that we feel we should parent. And I think that's really interesting to see how that has changed. So we're going to play the generation game. A little quote from George Orwell about being confident about why we're different and why it's okay to be different. Each generation imagines itself to be more intelligent than the one that went before, and certainly wiser than the one that comes after it. Now, I have a teenager. I don't know if any of you have a teenager in the house, but she definitely thinks that her generation is definitely the first person to ever hear a song that comes on the radio, to ever understand a food that she sees on TikTok. And she doesn't understand when I start singing along to something how I know that song. And she's listening to it for the fourth generation. And I'm referring to it when it came out the first time round. So I think remembering what's gone, but understanding that we all experience things for the first time doesn't mean it's less relevant. It just means it's the way we're processing that data. So let's look at our generations. We have here 5 generations put across a bar across the top, from baby boomers through Gen X, Y, Z, and finally the Gen Alphas, the youngest amongst us. What I've overlaid here is where you as planners sit. So financial advisors typically sit with the average age of a planner being in their late 50s. It's always been late 50s. I don't understand how that is when there aren't enough young people coming in, but the stat doesn't seem to be changing. planners sit between baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, not enough Gen Zs, and the Gen Alphas, well, they haven't had a chance to qualify yet, but hopefully they're coming through. Where do your clients sit? This is the key. They sit clustered largely around the age of their planner, because we seek advice from those we trust, maybe those around our age or slightly older. And the interesting thing is, where are those beneficiaries? Well, they're a generation to the right. They are generally younger, and perhaps not overlapping by 1 or even 2 generations from ourselves, in terms of the primary advisor or the primary client. So that transfer of wealth from left to right is what we're trying to tackle, making sure we keep our hands on that money, making sure that we keep control of the asset and control great outcomes for our clients as well.
Yeah, and we do have another poll.
Oh, you want to do it on that one? Go ahead, Lee.
On this particular slide. So I don't want to stop your flow. You're a great flow. So do you feel clients understand the need to engage family groups in financial planning decisions? And I think, I thought the answers would absolutely sway that way. What do you think, Justin? What do you expect from this poll?
I think most people understand that they should do it, but the reality is the logistics don't always lend themselves to getting everyone around the table. Technology's helped loads. So the fact that we can do Zoom meetings and Teams meetings means that it's a lot more accessible now. But sometimes, especially baby boomers, they play their cards really close to their chest. They don't always want to show how much money they've got, and they've been conditioned to save to keep that money close. They had austerity, and yet they've had the most wonderful of conditions which make them the wealthiest. But getting them to open up, my parents would never talk about it. They never gave me any money while they were alive.
No,
they didn't want to give it to me. So we have to encourage this openness and this narrative. So I think that's about what I would expect. They know they need to do it, but the reality is they're probably not.
Yeah, exactly. And when you mentioned different ways of engaging with people, I actually heard someone mention Skype the other day, and I thought, wow, is that actually still a thing?
No, it's dead. Skype's dead.
It's dead. I did think so. I thought I haven't heard Skype in years. That's how up to date with tech I am.
It only passed away recently. You've not missed its funeral.
Oh, so. It's not something that happened years ago then. No. Ooh, back in the room.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, that's pretty much what I would have expected from that poll. We know we need to do it, but the reality of doing it is something of a challenge. Thank you very much. Right, close that down. So if we think about the challenge of moving that money across the generations, the key is how we engage with these generations. And I'm just going to go through each of the cohorts now, just to think about what has conditioned them. Coming back to Deborah's quote about shared experience, it's really interesting to see how this comes through in terms of our characteristics, especially when it comes to money and parenting. Always interesting discussions here. So let's start with the baby boomers. If there are any boomers on the call, apologies for that awful picture. Love an AI generated image. My husband is a baby boomer and he's like, that is disgusting. He's like, I look nothing like that. But these
is that how you see me?
I know, right? I was like, that's not what I ordered.
Yeah.
So these baby boomers are between the ages of 60 and 78. And if we think about their population, they are born in a post-World War II environment. Sorry, the red arrow's just flown over my house, so apologies if you had background noise.
No, we didn't, no.
Yeah, no, I was like, in the background. So this generation born post-World War II, there was a huge explosion of population, as you imagine, all the families reunited, but the world was not quite normal and they did have an element of austerity. There was not enough food on the table, not enough money to go around, and this has conditioned this generation to not spend. They are terrible at spending, at gifting, and yet they have some wonderful characteristics. They're really fiery, fun individuals, somewhat rebellious, a bit anti-society. Had a fabulous time in the 70s before most of us were born. And they really changed the way that parenting was done. So this generation was a real advocate of sitting around the table on a Sunday. The family lunch is sacrosanct. Everyone should be together. It's, you know, that precious time. And they really started pioneering family meetings and engagement. So different to their parents before, where it was very much father was in the study and you made an appointment to see him. This generation was very, very much kinder and warmer, but really struggled with the gifting and giving money away and have this make do and mend approach. So savings oriented, holding on to their money, not very good at passing it on. We then come to Gen X. So these guys, I sit within this population between 45 and 59. born into a very different environment to the boomers that came before. Really flexible mindset, probably seen a lot more change in the world, have grown up with MTV, are really a lot more open to the LGBTQ stuff, and a little bit more rebellious, even more so than their previous generation. The interesting thing here is this parenting thing. This generation learned a bit from their boomer parents or from the older generation, but they do this helicopter thing. They want to hover over their children and control every single facet of their life. And there is a bit of a concern that this generation don't let their kids make mistakes. They want to try and stop them making the mistakes. And it can be difficult when you're trying to be a friend as well as a parent to actually have that level of gravitas with your kids when you need to say, you're not doing that. It can present its challenges. And if we look at this when it comes through to money, the Generation X are resilient and entrepreneurial, but they are even more cautious than their boomer parents because they've entered the world in a more volatile market. They've experienced more market volatility. They have rising property prices, rising inflation, and they have less spare cash available. They're feeling the pinch a little bit more. So this drives us to be even more cautious with our money. We're not frightened to spend it on ourselves, but we definitely don't want to give it to anybody else. And this causes a problem for the Gen Ys and the Gen Zs, because these guys, I mean, they've just got no hope at all to get on the property ladder. They really, really need that money to start moving down through the generations. So for those between 28 and 44, hopefully the huge diversity and change they've seen with things like 9/11, the huge boom of the internet, but they remember life before the internet. So they have some credibility. They understand what it was like before technology changed everything. They're incredibly resourceful. I'm really, really keen to embrace data and to understand and digest data. And they're really, really good at self-serving using the internet. Not quite as good as the generations that come after them, but way better than the Gen X's and the baby boomers that came before. These guys just want their kids to be happy. And you be you do you, whatever that means. Be a marine biologist, be a musician, do whatever, this is the kind of parenting, and it's fabulous to encourage children to be what they want to be, but they really, really need help. This generation and anyone else is struggling for financial independence. And yet they are tech savvy and they do want to save. They have a huge interest in understanding financial planning. Their problem is they don't see people as the source of that data. They are using the internet because they've grown up with it. It's their trusted source. So we need to make our service accessible through their service and through their technology. So this generation really, really favoring technology than over people. And Gen Z, well, these are the young guys aged between 12 and 27. They really rely on technology. They don't know a world without it. And their go-to source, literally as they're opening their eyes, is to reach for their phone. I know I have a 17-year-old. In the summer holidays, I said to her, go and see your friends. And she's like, but I'm on live stream to them. And it is social to her.
Yeah.
Many a TikTok accidentally or featured in all sorts of ungodly outfits in her videos without realizing. But this is a change and we need to adapt to this. So this generation, obviously, they don't have much wealth. They've yet to accrue all of the assets that they will. They're still very much building their accumulation. If they're lucky, they might have an early pension and they might be starting to save for the longer term future. But they are fiercely independent and they will use the internet and all of their peer group, a really strong peer group support. We hear the phrase, it takes a village. Well, this generation lean on their friends more than they lean on their parents for advice and guidance. And a lot of that is driven by what they see on the internet, whether we love it or hate it. That's coming from Instagram, from TikTok, and from all of those sources that they are on X, things like that. This is where they are going to for guidance. So we have to make sure that our tools and our guidance can be accessed via that tech, via that social media. And it needs to be engaging and interesting because they have zero attention span. Like if it's not, I'll send a video to my daughter and she'll watch like 3 seconds and then click through it.
It's all short form content, isn't it? It's very quick. I can't
believe how rapidly they consume data, whether it's liking posts. They're not even reading them. They're just doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling, yeah.
So we have to understand that. And it really shocks me to think about how that could be a threat to financial planning because we're building meaningful long-term relationships and we need to be in the moment. We're having a conversation now, we're engaged. My daughter would have left the room by now. It's about making sure you are interesting to that generation.
Yeah.
So thinking about the generations, thinking about the challenge of that timeline and how we can evolve our business, it's worth just spending a moment to think about how that comes through in terms of communication styles. I've got a really short video. This guy posts lots on TikTok. You might have seen this already, but this really brings home to me the difference in the way that we communicate and how we prefer to process data.
I like the way different generations arrive at people's houses. You've basically got boomers who will
What did you click?
unannounced, and about 7 o'clock in the morning, and they will knock on your door just slightly louder than the police using a battering ram carrying out a house raid. And then you've got Gen X. They would have made the plans well in advance, and they would have also checked in a couple of days before just to make sure the plans are definitely still happening. You see, Gen X, the forgotten generation, and they're so scarred by this title, they would have assumed that you'd forgotten not only about the plans, but about their very existence. Millennials will have hoped that the plans would have been cancelled. There's no reason that a millennial will ever actually want to come to your house. They will arrive late, but they will text you to say they're on their way. It's just they're about to get into the shower. And a millennial will never knock on your door. You'll just get a text either saying here or outside, and that's your cue to go and let them in. Similarly, Gen Z will never actually knock, but the chances are they won't have to. They would have been documented the entire journey from their house to yours, maybe even on FaceTime using this angle as they go along for some reason. Either that, or they've just sent a picture of your front door or a selfie of them outside it. And again, just like the millennial, that's your cue to go and rescue them from the outside world.
Every time I watch it, I have a little chuckle to myself, but very true. And if that's what we're up against, we really need to sharpen our saw, don't we? So yeah. Let's move along. So what can we do? Well, coming back to that stat, that 46% stat, well, we need to increase that. We want to get that to double. We want most of the beneficiaries saying, Mum, Dad, who is this trusted human that has helped you for all these years, and how can I engage with them now? And more importantly, how can you as a planner make that viable financially? Because we can't serve everyone. We need to make sure that we are earning. Our time is money. So let's start with a little risk assessment. Let's think about what the shift of wealth might do. So we're going to take that 46% stat, and we're going to do a very, very simple rudimentary segmentation exercise with your client bank. So we've got your clients put into age buckets, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. We have the number of clients, the assets within those client banks, and then the associated income attached to those as well. So we can apply the loss statistic. If we lose half of that income, we would class that as at risk. So let's hope it's nowhere near half or 54%. But I think it's fair to say that this could be quite powerful to understand that where our money sits, and perhaps as we're aging, our client bank is aging too, and therefore our income becomes a little bit more vulnerable. So then taking that a step further, this is where I think we're really honing in on where the risk sits within our client bank. We then think about the client bank. So when we think about our individual clients, we maybe know the primary client. So maybe Mr. is the primary client and we don't know Mrs. Or maybe Mr. and Mrs. are the primary clients, but they're aging and we don't know the children. If we've got high value clients where we are really exposed in terms of breadth and depth of engagement across the family, this is very clear to see that we can be zoning in on them and understanding how we can de-risk with maybe just picking. If you've got 100 clients, you've probably got 5 or 6, which you know in your heart of hearts, you could do a little bit more to engage with. So just a little bit of extra effort can really produce a significant change in terms of how exposed you might feel in terms of this engagement. So thinking about your business and getting yourself intergenerational ready, I've picked on this lovely Gen Y or millennial, a generation so important it has 2 names. That was pointed out to me by a millennial colleague of mine the other day. And by the way, the millennials, if you get them in the right job, they are like a force of nature. If you get them in the wrong job, they're a nightmare because they're not engaged, they're not interested. And this is the responsibility we have, is to make sure that we are playing to the strengths of the generations. Goodness knows what we're going to do about the young, those Gen Alphas that are coming through, because they're not going to have attention span. Meetings are going to be 4 minutes long. It's not going to be probably a good thing, but they're going to be their Teams bookings are going to be in 15-minute blocks, 1-hour blocks.
It'll be good to see their characteristics, won't it?
It will be fascinating to see. But if we think about what wires a Gen Y or a millennial, well, their financial goals, when we look under the bonnet, they are really savings motivated, even though they've got no money. They're worried about emergency funding because they've read about it and they know that they need to do it. They want to reduce their debt, but they have no ability to do it. And they know they need to learn to budget. So they're financially aware and financially savvy. They just don't quite have the tools or the money to be able to unlock that. So one of the obvious things that we can do as planners is to encourage that money to start moving. And wouldn't it be lovely if every client could afford to gift? But seeding the clients of the future, I absolutely wish my parents had done this. They didn't know they were going to pass away as young as they both did, both pre-age 75. So from a tax perspective, very tax efficient, but in terms of my life and my responsibility, I could definitely have done with that money a little earlier, and it would have been really nice to get on the property ladder or to have help from them in my 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
So thinking about grandchildren, starter kits, gifting of deposits, helping with school fees, wedding gifts, looking at the upcoming budget, there's going to be so much scope and so much more that we need to do around getting that money moving in a tax efficient way. And I think we're going to see real innovation in this space in terms of support and guidance and education to help get that money on the move, and protect the clients for the future as well. So thinking about your business, what can you do? Well, if we know that clients consume data in different ways, and if we know that younger clients want to engage with us through their preferred medium, especially those that are 1 or 2 generations removed from us, then quite simply, we need to make sure we're speaking their language. And their language is probably not a face-to-face meeting in your office, which could be an hour from their home. 1, they're not going to take the time to drive to you. 2, they don't understand the importance of a personal connection face-to-face. And quite simply, we're going to have to bring it to them. And the best way that we can do that is to adapt their style. And their style might be using things like social media, understanding TikTok or FinTok, as I found out about the other day. This is financial TikTok. This is where young people go for financial guidance and advice. That might be a leap of faith too far, but simply getting our material in a medium that they can access and is accessible to them. The other thing about this generation is they are really engaged. They want to use technology to engage. And if we can make our content interactive, be that through video, through infographic, or through surveys, they will do a lot of work for you. So they love an online fact find, and they will tell you so much information about themselves in that medium, more than you would get out of them in a face-to-face meeting, because they're going to be losing concentration or bored or probably not turning up. So we need to think about making it easy for them, and being active, engaging, and using a survey is something they would really, really love to do. Even better if we make that shareable, because they want to share the content or talk to their friends about the experience that they've had. So if there is a way for them to tell the world about something great that they've done, they would love to do that. So let's make your planning and your advice and guidance a part of that as well. And the final thing is to use AI. Now, we're all a bit skeptical. We're overloaded with advice about how AI is going to transform our world or change our world. But at a very, very simple level, being able to play back the outputs of a meeting that you've had, it's likely to be an online meeting with these clients, because they're not likely to come and see you, and they probably won't want you to travel to see them either. So using a transcript service, giving them something that's easy to digest and read back with a very clear summary, making it short and snappy, giving them key takeaways, it's something that's going to be accessible and easy for them to use and play to their strengths, rather than ask them to go somewhere that they're just not comfortable to go. So making sure we're ready, coming back to the key thread. I want you to remember this key thread. The key thread is that you are at the center of that transfer. You as the planner are in a really, really unique and special position. You are the conduit that runs through those generations. And when grandparents or mum and dad are no longer here, you are the ability for those children to tap into their parents, not just their money, but also their wishes, their desires, their hopes, their fears, their dreams for their future. And that planner is going to be able to tell you what your parents wanted. And that's what I personally wish I'd had. So there's an emotive side to this as well as a financial side, being able to get that thread and make sure you deliver on those familial wishes as well. You really are uniquely positioned. So let's make sure we mitigate the risk and we maximize the opportunity and get that generational money moving and protect the income while we're doing it. It really is a win-win on every single front. So hopefully our learning objectives have become learning outcomes, and hopefully we've covered everything we said we would. I have 3 slides to finish, just a little bit of a a reminder in terms of what we do at Tatton Towers. So as Lee has said, I've been with Tatton now for nearly 8 years. I came for 3. I'm still here after nearly 8. I think that speaks volumes. I genuinely love what I do. It is such a pleasure to be working in a business that is entirely pivoted towards financial planners. So we can't work with your clients without you. We're not available without an advisor. And I think that's a really comfortable place to exist. The fact that our services are only intermediated and only on your platforms means that you know they're your client, and without you, we can't run the service for them. And in terms of our service, we have 3 main propositions. We are principally known for our model portfolio service. And of our 22 billion or so of assets, that's where around 21 billion of those assets sit. So very, very clearly our lane. And it's really nice to be clearly focused on that. And that's really, we were designed really with that in mind, to take investment management away from advisors so they don't need to think about it. And running the service at 15 basis points was a real cost challenger when we launched 13 years ago now. At that time, quite terrifyingly, the average price for model portfolios was around 35 basis points. So, wow. Lee, look at the journey that MPS has come on. It's now 200 billion of assets, 200 providers, and an average price of 17 basis points. So we think 15 basis points is the right price. It's a fair price, and it enables us to deliver a fantastic service behind the broad choice of models that we have. We do have a fund range as well, and a smaller bespoke service for the clients who need a little bit more hand-holding, and both of those can be accessed through our team as well. Now, as you'd imagine, a sweet shop as big as Tatton, we have every single flavour of lollipop that you would want. So whether you are passionately active or passionately passive, or you're firmly on the fence and you can't decide whether you want active or passive, then we have a lovely blended range, the Tatton Core. And in terms of new flows, everyone says, Justine, where's the money going? What is popular at the moment? We are seeing the majority of the flows go into that hybrid range. With the market conditions like they are, you don't want to be in a passive at the moment, and you don't want to be in maybe fully active. It's really nice to be having that blend and to get at a reasonable price, the best of both worlds. And that's definitely the most popular for the new flows at the moment. Now, what are we doing that's different? Well, we're delivering on our promises, and we're making sure that we're guiding you through all of the difficult markets. We are communicating relentlessly. So we're offering market insights, our portfolio updates and decisions. We're communicating that to you in a really easy and accessible way. And we're giving you access to our specialist team, access to our investment knowledge and intelligence, so that you can support your clients and be communicating with them. Every single week, we produce 2 documents that advisors use with their clients, and our 1,100 advisors are really using that as an extension of their business. So you have 2 opportunities to communicate every week without a single thought. You can just have a little reminder to the clients what's happening in markets, what are you doing to make sure their money is safe, and how are you adapting? And then on a Monday, we have a recapped version of that for the clients who prefer the shorter version. A lot of our advisors send those straight on to clients using our fantastic Tatton portal, which means that they don't have to touch it at all, just automatic communication. And that for me is absolutely the benefit of working with us. So I started with a thank you for listening and giving up your time, and I will finish with exactly the same. It's so wonderful to work with advisors because we're learning from you all the time, and the collaboration you give us has really driven how we've evolved Tatton. We've added so much to our stable, be that the broad range of models, the platforms we're working on. We're on 19 platforms now. I think there's literally just True Potential's platform that we're not on now. We're on every single other platform. And having a transparent fee at 15 basis points is super easy. You understand what you're doing, you know what the price is going to be, and you know how you can access us. So I'm here for you. My team are here for you. We would love to get to know you better. And we'd love your feedback as to what else we can do to make sure that we remain brilliant going forwards as well. So that's it from me, Lee. Thank you.
Amazing. That was good. Considering you was, how many times have you done this presentation?
Not very many, and not for a number of weeks.
Look, it was good, and like I said at the beginning, this ties in so well with the face-to-face event that we've got coming up, because it is about how do you attract that generation? How do you engage with that generation? Because how you're interacting with the boomers and everything, it's not necessarily how you need to interact and attract and engage with the Gen X's and the Gen Y's and and everything in between. So it's really about having that thought out process. What messaging, what's their pain points, what's their struggles, what's their solutions? How do we get this across? On what platform do we get this across on? Because if you're doing that on LinkedIn, chances are they're not hanging out on that platform. Are they even on Facebook these days? Probably not. We've got a very clear, idea of where our business is. For example, if I ever post something on Facebook, the only person to like it will be my dad and Lewis's dad. That's the only interaction we get on Facebook. So we know our market's not on there. So it's just about thinking about where your market is, and that's where you put your message in. So the younger generation, it is absolutely your TikToks and your Instagrams and is it X? Is it Twitter? X? Who knows?
TikTok. It's TikTok. I mean, we have this week actually a group of fantastic work experience people in our Tatton offices. Utterly terrifying how bright they are.
Really?
We had all of their CVs in advance, and if I took their names off, they all read the same because they're using bloody AI to write their CVs.
Yeah.
I couldn't differentiate the humans beneath the CVs. We played a little game and we removed their names and we're trying to match the CVs to the people by looking at them.
Really?
But they've all got like 9 or 10 grade 9s at GCSE. They've all got 3 or 4 A's or A stars at A level. They're all in the second year of a economics or a finance or something financially related. And I just thought, my goodness, they're utterly terrifying. But we weren't walking into the room to do the training with them. They were nodding off. They couldn't cope with an hour of face-to-face contact. Only when I got up and started making them talk about themselves and actually them realizing they were going to embarrass themselves if they weren't engaged, I made all of them tell me about themselves and do like an elevator pitch. They were like, oh, no, we don't do this. We don't do talking. We don't do people. But they're so bright and so capable. It's about harnessing that talent and helping them take it forwards.
Yeah, it's playing to their strengths, isn't it, at the end of the day? We see that a lot now with firms. Tech's always been a big thing when people are, for example, recruiting, but the use of AI and having an understanding of using AI, we see that as a requirement on a lot of job specs now as well.
Yeah, I do. I think it has potential to be hugely helpful and supportive when it's used properly. And there's 2 camps, aren't there? There's the, I'm going to use it and get what I can from it. And then there's the whole, I'm going to hide under the desk and hope it goes away.
Yeah. What camp are you in?
I'm actually probably on the fence because I would probably be a hybrid investor. I wouldn't be active or passive. I'd be a blend. And I think my experience of great success of transcript, I've really got on the whole recording meetings, using transcripts, summaries, and helping me with key action points. It's changed my life.
Yeah.
I have not yet mastered the art of the prompt to get it to do what I need it to do. Yeah. And I'm flicking between different apps and tech, and I haven't found the right one for me yet.
Yeah. And this is what we spoke about earlier, right? It's about the prompt. It's about the input that you give it is the output that you get. And we also spoke about, me having a remarkable and you having blank bits of paper everywhere. And it's kind of, there it is. And I even said, I've got this remarkable, but I haven't used it in so long because meetings are now hands-free because it's being recorded and you get a full transcription and you're getting so much more from the meeting because you're only taking down the notes that you think is important when you're probably missing a lot of soft facts or you might not have picked up all the hard facts or whatever it may be. The transcripts aren't real. I'm not sure. I know we've still got a lot of people hanging around.
Any questions? Happy to take any questions.
Any questions? There was one particular poll that we skipped past, and I'd love to run that now. Are people concerned about ongoing advice fees when your primary client passes away? There was a slide on Donald Trump that I was supposed to run it on.
You were napping. You were caught napping.
I was caught napping. I was looking at his big thumbs up. So yeah, he distracted me a little bit. I
think we knew what the answer to that one was going to be. I can see where it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'd love to know the relation between that poll and the one that we run previously, where people felt quite confident in engaging the other generations. Because is it kind of contradicting yourself? Because if you feel confident about engaging those other generations, you should feel confident about your ongoing advice fees as well, right?
Very true. Very true. I think sometimes it takes a little bit of the kind of teaching in the segmentation to understand where the risk is.
Yeah.
And maybe that brings it home a little bit. I mean, it's a really basic case study example, but I think the very premise of that, even if you do it for 5 clients, it's a great use of an hour of your life.
100%. I think if you just ask those 2 questions to some of your best clients,
Yeah.
you know, have I got a relationship with the younger generation? Yes or no? Am I concerned about the ongoing advice fees? You know, if that said client was to pass, yes or no? And if you don't have that relationship with the younger generation, then the answer to this question should absolutely be yes. And if it's the other way around and you do have the relationship with that younger generation, then this answer should be absolutely categorically a no. You've got no concern about the ongoing advice fees whatsoever. So it's a good little exercise that you could probably run.
I think my next presentation needs to be around the $1 million question, how to make money out of serving that younger client base.
Yeah.
It's all very well saying, let's get it moving, guys. Let's get it on the way. How
Yeah.
are we going to make money out of it?
Exactly that.
I'll have to think. I'll pivot. That'll be coming soon.
Yeah. Coming say that is an exclusive for you all there. So yeah, 56% said yeah, that they do have concerns about the ongoing advice fees. So look, we are 5 minutes early. So if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to fire away. If not, like I said, when you exit, please take 2 minutes to complete the survey. It'll be great to hear your thoughts, whether you enjoyed it, whether you didn't, or whether we can do a little bit better. Whether you want to hear from Justine, whether you want to hear from us, so just take 2 minutes to fill out the form. That would be greatly appreciated.
Can I ask people if there's any other topics that they would like to hear about? I write the webinars, so this is genuinely an offer. If there's anything else that you would like to hear about from Tatton, doesn't have to be markets, it can be planning related, it can be anything that would help you. Either let the team know, pop it in the chat, or reach out to me. I would love to know what you'd like to hear from us on. Thank you.
Very good idea. Very good. Because we've done one on brand, haven't we?
We have. Yep.
That was good. I really enjoyed that. The importance of having a brand in financial planning.
I've got a presentation I'm halfway through that we've run before about 5 years ago on succession planning and preparing your business for sale and helping you package it up. So that's about 5 years old, but I'm going to revisit that one and dust it off because I feel like it could do with coming back out because I think the market's moved pretty fast.
100%.
Consolidation space.
That kind of stuff is always topical, isn't it? There's, you know, when we look at the industry as an average, when there's so many advisors that are moving into that part,
yeah.
And I feel that generation of advisor, if you like, are probably the ones that are less, you know, adopted and bringing tech into their business.
Definitely.
I think they've got no interest in it. They've got one eye possibly on retirement, and I can't be bothered to change everything that I've done for the last 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it may be. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting webinar for sure.
Thank you. Perfect. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you all for coming along, and we will hopefully see you at future webinars.